the daily gambling game show that takes betting seriously, but not much else. Get our favorite plays on the totals, sides, props, exotics, and futures to jump on now.
So let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Subject som Kevin Consolata Consolferino. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben.
Hey, welcome to WannaBet. Happy weekend. Happy Friday. All that good stuff. We appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, to WannaBet, as far as we know, the only daily sports wagering game show in existence where we try to cash for you and where we keep score. We will, as always, have our three favorite bets of the day, first, second, and third down, in that order. Fourth and long today, we'll be discussing some futures that you can't get paid on for a long time, but some most recent futures bets that Ben and I have made in the NFC East. And then in overtime, we will look at some quick hitters for tonight, some bets that we've placed to try to cash quickly for you guys, maybe within the first 3 innings, first 5 innings, maybe even another Nerfy. We lost our Nerfy parlay last night. The show had 7 straight shows where we had given out a winning Nerfy or Yerfy parlay. That streak ended last night, Beltway Ben, but how did we do overall for the season and last night? So there you have it. How about Beltway Ben? I have cooled off, and Beltway Ben is on fire. And that's how it works here, and that's how we want it to work as we bet collectively here, team betting to try to beat the books as part of this WannaBet community. Beltway Ben had Gunnar Henderson come through with him for a big RBI. He hits WNBA. Charlie Morton kind of sort of cruised for the Orioles. That really wasn't in doubt. Great night for him. We got the Toronto Blue Jays beating the Tigers again. We talked a lot about the Tigers yesterday on the show and how we're playing them. Sonny Gray, look, you can look at Sonny Gray's numbers and say he's not a very good pitcher, and he's not. He had been taking care of business in the first inning at home. He did not last night. So we hit the other side of that Nerfy parlay, but alas, the Padres got on Sonny Gray early. So that's what we've done for the year, and we're fired up to give you our favorite plays that we're making right now. And Ben, first down, what do you got?
Yeah, here on first down, we will take it to this Cubs-White Sox game, and I looked at the regular under here, but like Hauser, I don't know. I'm expecting regression, but the guy's been awesome. So I just stayed away because I think it's going to go under, but I just stuck with Shota Imanaga, who's on the bump for the Cubs, and he's been awesome, right? Since returning from the IL, 3-1 with a 2.13 ERA, and one of those starts he gave up 3 earned in 5 1/3, and that was his first start back. But since then, he's gone 7 innings in 2 straight starts, and then he also went 6 in the other one. All 3 were quality starts, and opposing batters are hitting 180 off of him in the month of July since he's come back. So he's been very, very good. A lot of guys are better at home and then struggle on the road. It's actually the opposite for him, right? 4-2 with a 1.33 ERA in 7 starts away from home, and opposing batters are hitting 175 against him. The White Sox lineup is like they battle and they fight, and they're annoying to bet against. But at the same time, when you look at what they've done against lefties, it hasn't been great at home. And you also look at what they're just coming off of. They were just playing in that ugly, small ballpark where they hit like 3 unicorn home runs, which means they hit 3 home runs. There were only a home run at that ballpark. That's not going to happen here at their home place. I think they're going to regress a little bit. The offense is going to slow down. And you're also getting, like, Colson Montgomery. Me and you have talked about him off air time and again. Like, he is not as good as he's played. And Baldwin, like, they have some guys that are overachieving. And the one dude in this lineup that really, really scares me is Mike Tauchman. Lefty, I do like the matchup. I think Imanaga shuts him down a little bit. So I do like the White Sox to go under their team total.
Well, I mean, look, I played this game a little differently on our Super Discord. You can go to the link tree at the top of my bio on Twitter or Ben's and sign up for the Super Discord. I played it a little differently. And really what this comes down to is, like, will Imanaga keep the ball in the park, right? Because, like, if it's one of those days where it's flying out in Wrigley with his fly ball rate, I think that's why he has those reverse splits. So, like, you look at the White Sox, like, is Vargas going to take him out? Is Tauchman going to take him out? You know, all of us, Lewis Robert, maybe he's been a little better lately. Maybe he's trying to get out of there. So I think this game will come down to that the ability for Imanaga not to give up not to give up the long ball. First down for me, I'm going to MLS tonight. I like New York City FC on the money line here against a young, hungry, but still inexperienced Dallas team. Like, if you look at how these teams have matched up historically, NYFC is unbeaten in 7 straight against Dallas. Not all wins, but I think 5 wins. Dallas has allowed 3 goals or more in 3 of their last 5 matchups with NYCFC. Dallas is coming off a win. They have not won consecutive games in MLS since March. And they've struggled at home. They're kind of like Imanaga. They have just 2 home wins. They have 7 losses at home. That's second most in the Western Conference. I think NYCFC is the better side here. I like them to take care of business. This game might be a little more high scoring than low scoring as it shakes out. But I think Dallas is a year away. Dallas, to me, is going to be an interesting team next year, but they're still kind of taking their lumps right now. They haven't been able to keep, as much consistency going in terms of putting up results. I think this is a good spot for NYCFC, and I like the price. So we are on that tonight in MLS. Second down, Ben.
Yeah, second down, we're going to go to the WNBA. And last night we had a lot of success. Tina Charles was never in doubt, really. She's scoring a ton early, and I did also tell you guys to take her for 20-plus points at plus 240, which she cashed very handily. But here we're going to go with Alyssa Thomas, and this has been a regular player that we've bet through this league, Terp legend, but over 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists at minus 110. When you look at what she's done against the Liberty, this is a big-time game, and she went over this very, very handily in both matchups against the Liberty. When you play a team like that, the stars are going to want to show up. They're going to want to have their fingerprints all over that game. And she's also cleared this in 8 of her last 12 games. So it isn't just like she's doing it against them and nobody else. She does this regularly. You don't see many forwards handle the ball the way she does. She's coming off of a slow night scoring the basketball, and that hurt us in our WNBA parlay the other night. But 10-plus points, I think she cashes this. But I honestly think she goes for 14 to 16, and that should make the rest of it easy because 10 rebounds is nothing for her. And we know how good she is dishing out the ball. She has the ball every single possession. You still have Sabali and Copper. They're not fully back yet. Last game was their first game back, so they're still going to be on somewhat of a minutes restriction. We saw Copper on the bench pretty frustrated about it, but I think the Mercury are going to hold to what they're doing there and keep them on the minutes restriction because these games don't matter as much as they do later in the year in the playoffs. So I like Alyssa Thomas to go over 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
Love it. Team betting, I will be tailing you in the WNBA, much like you tail me in soccer, right? We all have different specialties. We all have things we focus on maybe more than others, especially as we are kind of in the niche sports, and we're still in the niche sports part of the U.S. Sports calendar. So love it. Love that you are hot in the WNBA. Second down for me, I'm going to lean into a pitching mismatch in MLB, and I'm going to take the Rangers to win the first 5. At minus 135, Nathan Eovaldi on the mound for the Rangers. I don't really need to belabor that point, right? He's been as good as any starter in the majors, or certainly in the American League. He's been utterly consistent. The Rangers have won 4 of his last 5 starts. The Rangers have won 8 of their last 10 games overall. And what I like about the Rangers, Beltway Ben, is they've scored 49 runs in those 10 games, which doesn't sound like a ton, but them getting 5 runs a game is going to allow them to hit that Rangers to make the playoffs plus 390 that we gave out a couple weeks ago and played. And the pitching has been really good. And so all they needed was the bats to come around, and they're starting to have more confidence and pass the baton in their lineup. Just how good has Eovaldi been? Well, a 1.78 ERA. Skews a little higher at home, 2.14. I can live with that. He's been great in the first 5 innings of games. Wentz for the Braves is kind of an opener, sometimes provides length. I mean, the 5.71 ERA, I think, is a little unkind to him. But that's still someone who I think Texas can hit. And again, I 1 run might be enough here. 2 runs should be enough. Atlanta's really having trouble hitting the ball right now. Atlanta, and you could say that all season, Atlanta's won just 5 of their last 16 games. They're sputtering into the trade deadline. A lot of uncertainty there. And I like the kind of spunk and verve that the Rangers are finally showing. And I expect that to continue in that series this weekend. Third down, Ben.
Yeah, we're going to go back to the MLB here. And I'm going to go with Aaron Judge over 1.5 total bases. I wanted to play him at 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, but it's not playable at the juice. So you can just get total bases. And if he goes over the hits, runs, and RBIs, he should go over that. His home run today is plus 140, and like it's
Can't
insane.
play.
Like you cannot play that. But you can take his total bases. He's has games where he has 2 singles. He has extra base hits, and if he hits the home run, you're getting like 70 more cents. Like I don't.
Yeah.
The home run is just, as you said, it's unplayable. But home versus right-handed pitching, 336, 437, 714 slash line. It's pretty absurd what he's doing this year.
It's levitation.
And we saw him it's crazy. And we saw the first few months, like, all right, he's going to regress a little bit. And he came down a little bit, but he's still the best hitter in the game right now. Taijuan Walker is a guy that I like to attack, and he's overachieved to this point. When you look at his ERA as a starter with the Phillies, it's close to 5, 4.87. And he's had some struggles against right-handed bats this season. We saw him start to crumble in his last start, and I think that's a sign of what's to come for him. If you look at their history, right, 4 for 13 with 4 homers against Walker, that also is a reason that home run price is where it is. So, Judge, I mean, could he go for 5 today? Yes, I think so, but I'm not playing it at plus 140. I do like his total bases, though, because if he can't, do it against Walker, the Phillies bullpen is not as near as good as a lot of other contenders, so he could do it there. And he's also 4 for his last 25 in this season. In the last 7 games, 4 for his last 25. He returns to the Bronx. He should settle down a little bit, and he should be locked in. So I like him over 1.5 total bases.
Yeah, they need him to be an aircraft carrier right now. No two ways about it. Third down for me. I'm an MLB as well. Beltway Ben, give me the Mariners, the new and improved Mariners with Josh Naylor on the way, and they're saying maybe even a reunion with Eugenio Suarez. They're not saying that they're stopping at Naylor. They've got good vibes right now. They won last night in kind of a weird game. The M's have won 7 of their last 10. The Halos have won just 6 of their last 17. They lose tonight. That's 6 of 18. That's 333 ball. That's not very good. I thought about playing this first 5, but ultimately played it for the game because Seattle's bullpen is that much better than the Angels, and I love Brian Wu on the mound. Severino with the Angels, you can get really good odds with the Angels to cover or keep games close with him on the road. But kind of like Imanaga, and this is more extreme than Imanaga, at home the ERA is around 6. At home, the league's batting 280 off of him. Seattle's offense is in pretty good form right now. Big dumper, still big dumper. Julio's starting to take the ball yard a little bit more. And Brian Wu's been great. And Brian Wu, again, home road splits. Yeah, you love him even more at home in that huge ballpark. But I love the way he approached his outing at the Bronx against the Yankees. He has been solid on the road. His last 7 starts overall, 2.64 ERA. And I feel like there's some adrenaline right now running with the Mariners, whereas the Halos are kind of fading. So give me Seattle to win that ball game tonight. All right, fourth and long. We've got to talk NFL in these shows pretty much daily. It's around the corner, Beltway Ben. And we've looked at quarterbacks. We've looked at receivers. We've broken down props. We played by positions, and we've broken it down by divisions. And in the NFC East, look, we're backing Dak Prescott to go over 4,000 yards, right? We all kind of agreed with that. I know we thought some of the Hurts numbers were priced a little soft, and Jalen Hurts to continue to produce touchdowns on the ground, things like that. You, I, and our regular guest, Eric Casillas, were in lockstep on. But we continue to look at these markets and find other plays. Beltway Ben, what has caught your eye recently in the NFC East gambling markets, and where have you wagered?
Yeah, I got 2 props here. And this one I love more than most, and it's one of my top plays this year. And it's Malik Neighbors, 1,250 plus receiving yards this season. You hear the name and you hear the team, and it's immediately, well, I don't know about that quarterback situation. And right now, Russell Wilson is the odds-on favorite to be the starter. He's going to he knows where he needs to throw the football to have the most success. Jameis Winston would be huge for us because we know he'd be letting it fly. And we saw what Jerry Jeudy did last year when he took over at quarterback. And then Jackson Dart, I don't expect him to play a ton this year. Yeah. But if he does, a top-tier wide receiver is a rookie quarterback's best friend. And I took this up to get it to plus money. I don't care who's throwing him the football. Let's look at last year. He had 1,204 yards. Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito, and even a game of Tim Boyle. Like,
right.
Those were the 4 quarterbacks, and he was 46 yards short of this. Like, I don't know how he doesn't do it in year 2. He is a top-tier wide receiver in the NFL. In the next few years, we're going to be talking about him being a top 5 wide receiver. The Giants, we've talked about them and how we really don't expect much out of them this year. So if they're playing from behind, give me 40 yards in the final drive of a game to get us more. Like, that's what's going to happen. And he missed 2 games last season and was still just 46 yards short, but he was healthy most of his college career. Dealt with a toe injury this offseason. Doesn't sound too serious. So I do like Malik Neighbors to go for 1250 plus. And again, I told you, you hear Giants, you hear quarterback. Look at what he did last year with me and Jason throwing to him. He's still going to be able to do whatever he wants. And then the other play, I'll be quite honest. When I went through this, I thought for sure.
I almost played this. Even though I'm out on the Cowboys, and you'll see that in a minute. I almost played this.
And Jason makes the point there. I am out on the Cowboys too. But 2.5 division wins? Give me 2 against the Giants, and I'll take 2 losses against the Eagles. So we have to split with the Commanders. They're over in 8 of their last 9 years. And when you look at how their schedule stacks up, early on, right, you start with the Eagles week 1, that's tough. But then you get a bad Giants team at home. That should be a confidence-building game for the new head coach. And then last year they won just 7 games. So they went under their total, still went over this number. And that's quite honestly what I'm expecting this year. You really, really need the split with Washington. I get it. Dallas has ran poorly, but they're going to get healthier as the season goes on. And later in the year is when we're going to need some of these wins. Quite honestly, I think Dak can throw them to 3 divisional wins. I think they're taking 2 from the Giants, like I said, and I also expect them to beat Washington once. I'll take the Philly 2 losses, but we need just 3 division wins. I'm taking that at -110.
This is interesting. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Ben and I do not compare notes. We don't share these bets until we react in real time to them on the show. He knows mine a little bit ahead of time because he builds the graphics, but we're not hashing this out. And we're on the same 2 teams here a little bit differently. I'll start with the Giants. I played them under 331.5 points scored. It's one of the lower totals in the NFL in the betting markets. It's not low enough for me, though, Beltway Ben. Since 2020, the Giants have scored even 300 points in a season one time. And it was the first year with Dable and Daniel Jones, and they caught the league by surprise, and they went to the playoffs. That certainly, to me, looks like an anomaly compared to Giants offenses of years past. 273 points last year, 266 the year before that. Okay, 331.5 points equates to 19.5 points per game. The Giants went over 20 points a game 4 times last year in 4 of 17 games, Beltway Ben, and they had 22 in one of those 4 and 21 in another of those 4. Oh, and 45 came in one freakish game, right? So they scored almost 25% of their points for the season in one weird game where they put up 45. I think Russell Wilson's going to struggle. I think Jameis is going to play more than people think, but what comes with Jameis? A lot of picks, which kills drives. It gives you yards to the neighbors thing, but it takes points off the board because he throws red zone picks. He throws midfield picks. He throws first down picks, right? Could you find Russell Wilson numbers anywhere? I couldn't.
No.
Nobody's put them up.
No.
When they do, fade them. I'm just telling you, the Giants are going to approach this like the Steelers last year, right? Where they went 6 weeks with Fields and then they saw what was behind door number 2. They know that none of their quarterbacks is good for 18 weeks. They know that none of their quarterbacks is good probably for 10 weeks. It's going to be about mixing and matching. So I would fade the individuals. But the Giants defense, I believe in. And I think the Giants front 4 is going to keep them in games. And I think Brian Dable's fighting for his job, and he's going to keep it simple, stupid. This is not going to be about showing what Russ Wilson could do at his age 36 season. It's going to be about staying in games and trying to let that defense be the star. The other play I made is on the Cowboys, like Ben made, and I took them in an alt market under 7.5 wins. I think Brian Schottenheimer's in a world of trouble here. He's not an NFL head coach. The locker room knows he's not a head coach. And they didn't even start practicing in Oxnard, California, and Jerry Jones is already whipping up a shitstorm. And you know what I mean? Has everybody in a frenzy and has Micah Parsons saying, yeah, I'm probably going to have to hold in. All of a sudden, my back hurts. He's got Dak Prescott saying, why do we do this every year? We know that Micah's eventually going to get paid anyway. I don't like the early season schedule. I think they're going to start slowly, and that's a front runner team. Dallas is built with a lot of – you talk to people who evaluate their roster from other front offices, they keep bringing up the character flaws of a lot of Cowboys players. And if they're front running, it's okay for a while. But if they're not, it turns quickly, and there isn't real leadership there. And there's not a lot of guys who really are committed to them because it's a star heavy roster. Jerry overpays 5 or 6 guys, and everybody else has to beg for breadcrumbs. And when you're winning, you can get away with it because they think, well, if we win, I'm going to get paid. When you're not winning and you don't have a head coach, and I'm not a McCarthy guy, but McCarthy's Vince Lombardi compared to Brian Schottenheimer, like this is going to collapse. And yeah, they'll win a few games in the division. They know those teams. Dak will ball out. He can read them. But when they're up against similar rosters or better rosters, they're like Dallas or they're like Miami in the AFC. They pee down their leg. So I think they're going to have trouble winning as many games as they did last year. And Dak will get a lot of hollow yards in the second half of games when they trail. But that defense is still not built to stop the run. They've got to have a lead to tee off on the other team's quarterback. I don't think that's going to happen. All right, Beltway Ben. Overtime. We've been doing a lot of quick hitters lately. Again, we had 7 straight shows where we hit a Nerfy or a Yerfy parlay. That's a no-run first inning or a yes-run first inning parlay. Yesterday, we did not. I want to get a new streak starting, but you start us off with your overtime play.
Yeah, I'm going to go with – oh, sorry, that's yours. Oh, no, those are both of yours. This is mine here. I'm going to go with the Brewers, the Orioles, and the Valkyries on the money line, and Aaron Judge to get a base hit. I already touched on Aaron Judge. The Brewers, I was inches away from putting the Brewers in my first 3 downs today because Cal Quantrill on the road is a mess, and Freddie Peralta at home is basically Cy Young.
It's priced crazy, though. It's priced crazy. I wanted to do it, too. I couldn't get there on anything.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And the Marlins just battle. I could see that being a 1-run game at the end, so I couldn't do 1.5 either. But I just went with their money line there. Judge, I touched on. The Orioles, they're playing the one team in the MLB that I'm confident they're better than, and Freeland is awful, and Dean Kramer's good at home.
Yes.
This should be – and they have an awful strikeout rate against right-handed pitching. I was also close to taking Dean Kramer strikeouts today.
I took the outs. I took him over the outs.
I don't see how he doesn't shut this lineup down at home in this spot. The Rockies aren't home. We know how much damage they do in that ballpark. All of a sudden they leave, and it's not very good. And then the Valkyries against the Wings team, who has gotten healthier, but they're still not a good team. You know how I have that future on the Valkyries to make the playoffs at plus 100. We need them to start winning some games, and I'm confident they will. So they start off the second half with 2 bad teams. They should win back-to-back. So I like this parlay here at plus 329.
Love it. I am on a Nerfy parlay here. If you want to play them individually, KC and Cleveland, Nerfy, you can get around minus 130. Same thing on Milwaukee and Miami. Look, KC is 65-38 to the Nerfy. They're the number 1 Nerfy team in Major League Baseball. Beltway Ben, who do you think's number 2? I'll give you take a wild guess. Who the number 2 percentage-wise Nerfy team is in baseball?
The Guardians?
You got it. 61-41. Kansas City's 36-14 to the Nerfy, 72% at home. Cleveland's 32-20 to the Nerfy, 4th most in MLB on the road. Waka's got a 0.45 ERA in the first inning. He's allowed 1 first inning run in 20 starts. Gavin Williams is 8-2 to the Nerfy. 8.9 ERA in the first inning, Beltway Ben. The league's batting just 206 off Quantrill in the first. He's got a whip under 1 in the first inning. Milwaukee is 60-42 to the Nerfy. They've been a heavy Nerfy team. They've got 10 straight Nerfies going. And Miami has scrapped again. They have been scrappy, and they did score some first inning runs on the Padres. Padres' crappy defense had a lot to do with it. But I like Peralta settled in at home where he's dominant. So we're on that Nerfy parlay there. Again, if you want to play him individually, I have done that as well.
I'll put 1 unit on the Royals Guardians here. You can mark that down. You also look at, real quick, Gavin Williams. There haven't been many pitchers who have been able to get Bobby Witt out regularly. He has, and that's the big out in that first inning. So I am playing that Nerfy as well.
Excellent. So that is our Friday show. Also, early in the week, I'm on Saskatchewan tonight, laying 7.5 in the CFL. You can get all of our plays again on the Super Discord that we do with Eric Casillas. We've got all of our bets we make in real time. We put them in that Discord. You can find out how to subscribe in the link. Ben and I will be back around 9:30 Eastern time tomorrow with a weekend edition of Wanna Bet. We thank you guys for tuning in, and we want to keep cashing with you on Wanna Bet.